Major Chandrakant Singh, another 1971 war veteran. Vir Chakra is also with us on the show. Major Chandrakant Singh, thank you for speaking with us, sir. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
So thank you for sparing your time and speaking with us. It's an honor to have you here today. It's the 78th Independence Day today as well. You've heard, why Satyajit wrote the book. You've heard what Air Marshal Vinod Kumar Bhatia also had to share. What are your memories? Some of those salient memories that you can dig out when it comes to the 1971 war. And of course, then we will also talk about some of the other things that should be spoken about when it comes to this great war that India won.
Firstly, I'm lucky I've met Satyajit when he was writing this book. And for a young man like him, I was quite amazed that he was interested in this subject and done a wonderful job. Congratulations, Satyajit. Firstly, 15th August is our Independence Day. But with the happenings in Bangladesh, these days, it is also useful for us to remember 15th August is also the 50th anniversary of the martyrdom where Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was killed by elements of the Bangladesh army. History has a tendency to repeat itself. It is the Bangladesh army which was instrumental in having the legitimately elected government of Sheikh Hasina brought down and she being exiled. The other thing I want to say is, as everybody has repeated, this was a victory unparalleled in the annals of warfare at any time in any country. But what is greater is that not only did we win the victory in a period of 10 or 12 days, 16th of December 1971, the Pakistan Army surrendered. On the 22nd of December, exactly a week or 6 days later, the Bangladesh government in exile under Mr. Tajuddin Ali Ahmed was brought over and handed the keys of the government of India to Bangladesh and told by the commanding general in Dhaka at that time, General Chandrakant Singh, now this is your government, your people, you run the show. We are here only to help you and support you if you need us at your request. In 7 days, we handed over the government and the whole nation, independent nation, to the legitimately elected representatives. The Americans entered Afghanistan. 20 years or so, they stayed on there, left a utter mess. The same thing they've done in Iraq. And what people tend to forget is the Second World War got over in 1945. The Americans are still 75 years later, or 80 years later, are still in Europe. So we can rightfully take credit for this. The other thing, as an Indian and as an Indian Army officer, I'm most proud of, and which every Indian needs to be proud of, that during the time the Indian Army was in Dhaka, we did not have one case of molestation of a woman or one case of looting by Indian troops. The same cannot be said of even the so-called civilized Western armies. And I'm not saying this alone. I'm going to read out from my book on General Sagat what Sidney Schanberg, the Pulitzer Prize-winning New York Times correspondent, on whom his autobiographical film, The Killing Fields, is made, what he has to say about the Indian Army. I don't like sitting around praising armies. I don't like armies because armies mean war. But this Indian Army was something. They were great all the way. There never was a black mark. I lived with the officers and I rode with the Jawans, and they were all great. This is what all the foreign correspondents who were there wrote in their papers, including the New York Times. Now that is a report, that is something which I think every Indian can be rightfully proud of.
Sir, I also want to understand, in context to what's happening in Bangladesh right now, what do you make of it? And do you think that it's perhaps once again India's responsibility, to look at this mess in Bangladesh objectively?
Well, I'm glad that you asked this question. And I can speak with a certain amount of authority. Of anybody in the Indian Army, a veteran of the Indian Army, I had the longest tenure in Bangladesh. From March 71, Zia Rahman, later on the president and the late husband of the principal opposition leader, Khalida Zia, came over to India, and for the next 3 months he spent in my tent most of the time. As far as Sheikh Mujibur Rahman is concerned, after his release from prison, I received him at the Dhaka airport on the 10th of January 1962, and then my battalion gave the farewell parade to him in 12th of March in Dhaka, 1972. So, and we had a long tenure, so we got to know, and I'm still in touch with people, what's happening there. Remember that in 71, the Pakistan Army did what they did, and it's all been publicized. But the equal amount of atrocities, killings, and rapes were done by pro-Pakistani Bengali elements on their fellow citizens. The Razakars and the Mujahideen. There were Bengalis killing Bengalis. There were Bengalis killing, raping Bengalis, particularly the minorities. This is exactly what is happening now. My friends in Bangladesh have sent me videos and photographs of what the events that are taking place there. It is horrific. It is for us, for everybody to understand what is it in the psyche of these people that turns them into subhuman human beings. At some stage, India will have to take a more proactive role. Because with the pro-Pakistani and radical elements now backed or supported by the army, back in power, the atrocities on the minorities are going to increase. And by minorities, I don't necessarily mean just the religious minorities. There are also racial and ethnic minorities in the Chittagong Hill Tracts. India will have to take a more proactive role. In what form it will take in is too early to say, but we will have to take a more proactive role in it. And I understand why it is happening, because as far as the Bangladesh Army is concerned, because my friends in Bangladesh, who are themselves veterans of the Mukti Bahani, had warned me beforehand that there are elements in the Bangladesh Army who are inspired by the role the armies plays in Pakistan and other West Asian countries. They are not reconciled to working under a democratically elected governments. Now, till that changes, till the armies of the Bangladesh or these countries are made to play their rightful role and not have an exaggerated opinion of themselves and ruin their countries, this will go on. But India will have to play a more proactive role. We cannot see it happening. We cannot again have 10 million minority refugees flooding into India. As it is, we have a problem in Bengal about ethnic and religious divides. Same thing in Assam, same thing in Tripura.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.